Nope. Things are being very, very bad to me today, unfortunately. Haven't had time to eat my dinner yet, so... God damn it, guys. I'm sacrificing my dinner hour for this. Anyway, we do have, it seems, it's going to be Space Marine, Diamond 2 Terran versus Panra. Panra from the Team Graza. Graza, who is a Diamond 1 Zerg. Most interesting. Starting up now, and of course, we have Mr. Graza from his own clan, Graza, observing the game as well. So this is going to be very exciting, of course. And this is going to be on Eastwatch. Eastwatch, a map with a lot of choke points, a lot of maneuverability. Maybe not so good for, you know, a death ball style kind of army, but we'll have to see what Space Marine will go for. Space Marine, I believe he is one of the players who does prefer playing mech. So most players in the QTclub like to play mech, and I'm not sure what Graza, Panrav and Team Graza is going to do. But anyway, let's introduce our wonderful players here from the QTclub. In the top right we have Space Marine, who is going to be a badass Space Marine. And in the bottom left we have, from Team Graza, we have Panra. Panra. Nice and juicy, just like the Panra. Anyway, we are going to see the Overlord moving out very quickly. And it appears that Space Marine is probably going for a barracks first build. Probably he's opting for a little bit more bio-oriented, because usually mech players like to go gas first. I'm not sure about that barracks. Needs... not sure. You should maybe place the one square to the right so that it could wall off with the reactor and a supply depot. And in addition to that, we do see Panra. He is going for the hatchery first, followed by gas. Well, presumably he's going to get a spawning pool very quickly after that. Hello, my life for Aya. How are you doing, my life for Aya? Oh, I forgot the stream has a goddamn delay, so I do apologize about that. It is part of the rules, I guess. Actually, a wonderful spawning pool coming right up my menu. And Space Marine, he is going to scout with the SCV. SCV scout, classic. With a Reaper to follow it up. And Space Marine, not building a factory just yet. He is going to build a factory right after this, I believe. Yep, he drops down the factory. And Panra is going to scout with his second Overlord. One Overlord sent to this side of the map. We will spot that Reaper, however. And of course, whoop, he's not making any drones. He's adding on an evolution chamber, because could this be the Drop-a-Lord action? And the Reaper gets just bopped by the Zerglings. I mean, he is getting evolution chamber. He is going for some very, very, very fancy Drop-a-Lord action. I'm excited to see what he's going to bring. I mean, he hasn't started up his Baneling mess yet, but I presume that's going to be coming right along. And of course, he's going to morph this into a Drop-a-Lord. My god. This is going to be quite fascinating. A Drop-a-Lord Zergling rush, and I'm afraid Space Marine, he just has absolutely nothing. He is going for 2-1-1 build, which I do not like 2-1-1 against Zerg personally. It could work, but it's not a very safe build, and we see these Zerglings distracting Space Marine. And I mean, Space Marine is not looking great right now. I mean, he has nothing in his base, with some more Marines coming out, but that's going to take a while. Whereas the Drop-Lord, it's still not doing anything. But I presume Panra is going to get the Zerglings into Drop-Lord, drop them right here, and the Zerglings are going to rampage the first base of Space Marine. Definitely not very good. Not looking good at all. And already the Zerglings don't even need to use drop load action. And this is a horrible, horrible wall. The Marines get decimated and the SCVs are pulled. And the SCVs do get a quite nice surround on Zerglings. But unfortunately the Zerglings are just going straight into the main base and they're just going to rampage the entire mineral line. And there are already no SCVs in the natural expansion. So what I'm wondering is, what is Space Marine going to do from here? Panra is in the supply lead of 42 to 27 right now. And he's desperately trying to add up more and more Marines. But I mean, a few Marines with stim are totally useless. And a bunker is going down here. And the bunker should have been placed here. But then Panra is not making liberal use of his drop load, which makes it quite pathetic in my opinion. He could use the drop load, but since Space Marine did not wall up correctly, I mean this is just looking very, very terrible for Space Marine. The bunker is not going to be completed, and the SCVs are just continuously microed, but at this point he should really just, you know, attack the Zerglings instead of trying to delay it. I mean, look at Panra, he already has his third base up, but not completely running of course, but the Zerglings are just completely rampaging through it. Space Marine's entire mineral line, and I mean Space Marine is at 14 supply and 13 and dropping, and it's not looking very well either. I mean, at this point it does look like a very inevitable defeat for Space Marine. He is trying to micro the Marines, but unfortunately the Zerglings do get the surround, and I'm afraid that, well, with no SCVs and with Panra at a 69 supply, it's looking very, very bad for him. For Space Marine at least. This is not going to go well at all. I mean, that botched wall was part of what I was alluding to. And unfortunately, Space Marine decides, well, he knows it's over and he taps out. No, unfortunately not the best game for a Space Marine in this circumstance. Darn, and unfortunately that's going to be one up for Team Graza. Which unfortunately means that we're going to have to rely on our next 3 players in order to bring some kind of glory back. It is going to be a 1-0. Hello everybody. I'm afraid I can't interact with chat that well since it is customary for a 2-minute stream delay in these kind of tournaments. But hello everybody, what's up my life for Aya? What is up Zerilius? What is up Rakirian? And what is up Yo Mama on Mad? Our next matchup is going to be... I have no idea what it's going to be. Who are our next players? I believe Prostis Laos is going to be the next player for our. We are going to be seeing Prostis Laos, a Diamond 1 Terran from the QTclub versus Team Graza's. I'm not actually sure. Danik, I believe. It's going to be Prostis Laos, whose in-game name is OMG. So it's really, you're going to be seeing some OMG moments from his mech play probably if he decides to go mech. And of course, very exciting to see what kind of things these players will bring. Danik is a Diamond 3 Zerg. So the odds are in favor of QTclub's OMG. And I'll be quite sad if we lost this one. It would be quite devastating since Space Marine did lose to that Zergling rush. He did botch it up though. His bunkers were placed in the wrong position, his supply depot wasn't walled up properly, and I mean, his opponent did make a lot of mistakes as well. For example, the drop lord not being used at all, but Prostislaus versus Danik. So from the team Grazi, we have in the bottom right we have Danik, and in the top left we have QTclub's Prostislaus, who is a mech god and a very avid player of Bio as well. I have played lots of 2v2 games with Prostislaus, and he's quite good at map awareness, and he has a very high APM as well. So we'll have to see what he goes for. He decides to go for the gas first as well. I have full confidence in Prostislaus, but we yet have to see what Danik is going to come up with. It's for Team Graza, they already have 2 Zerg players, and I mean, for Zerg, there are so many strategies and ways for you to overrun your Terran opponent. But Prostislaus, I'm thinking he's favoring for a mech style play. In which case, maybe he'll do the special Liberator range build that's special used. Whereas he would get a Liberator with Liberator range and siege up in this location. And this location on this map, which is Backwater Alley, I presume it's called. If he sieges up a Liberator here, the Zerg cannot mine from the 3rd base, so that's really nasty thing. We do see an SCV coming out along, and looks like things are just going very smoothly for both players. No sort of cheesy plays yet. Oh god, I'm just getting a drink. Believe it or not, talking very loudly for extended periods of time is harmful to one's throat, so one must drink something. Do you see a command center built on the high ground? It looks like Prostislaus is quite afraid of a Zergling rush. Or Lingbane bust. Either way. Do you see the Reaper coming out along? And Prostislaus, he's opting for the SCV is coming back, looping around. The Reaper comes for follow-up scout. Factory is started with the reactor coming right along. So Prostislaus is probably going for a Hellion opener. To make some Hellions to roast those nice crisp little Zerglings. Even though I have heard that Zerglings are in fact in real life size, their Zerglings are about as big as a big dog, so that's pretty creepy if you think about it, because a large dog in real life size measurements, they are pretty big, and I wouldn't want those to be, you know, chewing up my legs and chewing through my combat suit either. So there are reasonable amount of Zerglings here for Mr. Danik. I mean, it isn't optimal, of course, but he's not going to do any sort of fancy Lingbane bust, of course, because he does not have a Baneling Nest up yet, and he's continuing to mine from his gas geyser, even though he doesn't really need the gas right now. He could invest into some roaches if he wanted to. It looks like he's going straight for the Baneling Nest right now. Prostislaus, he did go for a safe Hellion opener, which is very good at denying scouting from the Zerg using Zerglings, so that's definitely going to be very good. He is continuously pumping out Hellions. I do wonder if he's going to move out with 4 Hellions and a Reaper. Yes, he's going to move out immediately. And it does look like Prostislaus is going for a bio-oriented play. I'm not sure whether he took a book out of Space Marines, took a leaf out of Space Marines book and decided, well, I can do bio better. I'll show you how it's done. But looks like Prostislaus is going to put on some pressure with Hellions. But there are 2 evolution chambers which are blocking the way. 3 evolution chambers? I've never seen this kind of play before. But unfortunately the Hellions do get in, and that was a bit of a micro by Prostislaus, but he manages to get a Queen, but Queens are quite tanky versus Hellions. And Prostislaus decided, well, I'm going to roast some drones if I can't. Well, all the drones are roasted, and lots of economic damage is done. Meanwhile, Prostislaus, he is building up that Bioforce, and he is going for that Liberator range build. I mean, that's just nasty at this point. I mean, Zerg already has taken such a big hit to the economy. I'm not sure how many workers were killed. 8 workers were killed, a reasonable amount, but in the early game, 8 workers is a lot, obviously. Zerg is going to build up this third base, but unfortunately, he isn't going to be able to mine from it at all due to the Liberator range. Now, that's a nasty thing. I mean, I've never tried this build before. I mean, you put 2 tech labs. I mean, you put down 2 tech labs, one for Stim, one for Liberator range, and you have to invest in the fusion core. Probably a bit unsafe, but because of his Hellion opener, of course, he can manage to afford that kind of luxury of getting Liberator range. Meanwhile, the 3 evolution chambers, one of them is going to stay unused. What a pity for him. There is a spine crawler in the natural though. I mean, judging from Danik's play, he is a very turtly kind of player, so his layer is about to finish. Advanced Ballistics is completed. The Liberator shall execute its way across the map and is going to completely shut down the mining from Danik's third base. Now, what I would love to see from Proceslaus is probably a few siege tanks and a third base, of course. By denying a Zerg's third base, you have basically just removed the option for them. No! What are you doing, Proceslaus? Not there. Get over here. Yes, that's right. Now, nothing can hit this Liberator, I'm pretty sure. Even if he moves the Spore Crawler here, I'm not sure whether it can hit the Liberator, but I presume not anyway. We do see the classic vertical wall here. Very neat. And as I said, OCD sufferers will sympathize with this kind of ordering. Proceslaus is starting up his third base, a little bit late. But it's probably due to because he had to invest a little bit in the fusion core and the Liberator range, which makes it, well, less viable when going off third base very early. So it looks like Proceslaus is going to be moving across the map. He does have a ton of Hellions and lots of Marines as well. And it's a good thing. He made lots of Hellions. They acted as a buffer, a shield for the Marines, so the Marines don't get eaten alive by the Zerglings. But we do see the Marines coming along, and the Marines do have Stim done, but not combat shields. Yeah, oh, combat shields just finished. And it looks like the Neek is going to have a very hard time. He does have a lot of Banelings though, I mean, but Proceslaus, he takes down the evolution chambers. No, back off. Oh my god, the Widowmine got a lot of value there, but Proceslaus splitting. Quite not the best, of course, but could be done better. But you know, that's the nature of Banelings. They're just really good against Marines. Proceslaus is going to start up a lot of Marine production, throwing a few Marauders in the mix for there. He should start up a 1-1 pretty soon, so that Marines don't get instantly killed by Banelings, which would be quite unfortunate. It does look like the Neek has a lot of gas in the bank, and so does Proceslaus. I mean, if he is going for a Bible, he doesn't need any gases on his third base, so he does drop down 2 scans, one at the Zerg's third base and one at the Zerg's soon-to-be fourth base. But unfortunately, the third base is just, well, where did the Liberator go? I have no idea. He invested so much into the Liberator range, and unfortunately, just didn't work. It should work technically. If he sieges up the Liberator right here, it should be untouchable by anything. If the Zerg is going to invest into a Spire, then it would be quite a costly investment. But what Proceslaus, he's not even closing up his wall. But I guess there are too many Marines there. He needs to get SCVs to repair those supply depots immediately, or he's going to face a very nasty consequence. But there are a lot of Zerglings for Mr. Danik over here. Danik the Zerg likes to make nothing but Zerglings and Banelings. What is he tacking up to? He's getting a hive as an infestation pit, but I see nothing. I only see Zerglings and Banelings. He should be making some sort of transition right now. Either it be Hydras or Mutalisk. Either way, it should be good. Looks like the Neek did disconnect there. And the thing is, if the player does disconnect, I believe we can have the option for a rematch, or either way it's an auto win for Proceslaus. But it does appear that Danik is going to reconnect immediately. He is suffering from internet problems. Unfortunately, we all don't live in the richest countries in the world, so we can't expect fully capable internet service from anywhere across the world. I mean, I live in London, so London internet is really shitty, so you can't say that for every sort of country. Actually, everything is UK is really shitty. Don't mind about that, it's pretty shitty. But it does look like Danik is going to suffer a lot of damage from this marine push, and he is going to build 50 Zerglings and 31 Banelings. I mean, that's just a mind-blowing number of units. But those like Proteus is going to opt for a 4 Marauder drop, very interesting kind of build. But unfortunately, there are just so many Banelings. I mean, I have no idea where these came out from, but it's just rolling over Proteus army. But Proteus but unfortunately, the Banelings make the connection, and this 4 Marauder drop is still doing damage for some odd reason. It does look like 17 workers have been killed, and Proteus he's establishing a very firm grip on the map. He's not allowing the Zerg to counterattack. He's just relentlessly pushing forward with his Marines and Marauders. Definitely Proteus is a more experienced player than I am, given that he's in Diamond 1, but I would love to see some tanks being added on. Looks like the creep spread is coming along for Danik here, but Danik, unfortunately, he did take a very big hit to his economy. If we look at the income tab, we do see that Proteus is in the worker and income lead with a lot more minerals mined per minute than Danik. And Proteus is going to make an aggressive move. He's going to deny the Zerg's 4th base, and the Zerg is going to be unable to mine from the 4th base. And Danik, I mean, he has a lot of Zerglings, he has a lot of Banelings, but it's not going to do anything, you know. Well, I mean, if you don't have any income, you're just going to slowly lose the war of attrition. It's like when 2 hard surfaces rub together and they just keep rubbing. Eventually one hard surface is going to wear out faster than the other. More medevacs, more marines, more road warders. I'm just seeing pure bio play from Proteus, a risky play, granted. I'm not sure what he's doing with the factory now. He's not doing anything with the factory. He's not switched over to Tech Lab. He's just going to build some more widow mines. To be honest, I would love to see some kind of tank play, some tank pushes. It would give a lot more credence. It would give a lot more weight to these pushes, which have not been quite successful just yet. But I mean, with the widow mines coming along, and there are ultralists. I mean, I'm not sure what these Banelings are doing, but Proteus he does get not a very good split off, but the widow mines did a lot of damage against those Banelings. And Proteus he's just pressing forward with his Marine, Marauder, and medevacs. Unfortunately, he does have a tad bit too many medevacs, and I'd like to see. He should be adding on some Liberators right now. He did see the Ultralist, but I mean, Danik at this point, he has no economy, so one Ultralist is not going to defeat one Ultralist can't defeat 50 Marines. But Proteus he's not giving up. He's just continuously pushing forward. I'd love to see him recall some of these medevacs back to his base to pick up the bio units and simultaneously do a drop in the main or something. But I guess one of the things that Zerg has that Terran doesn't have is that Zerg's unit comes from different locations, whereas Terran players, all the production is usually in their main base. Zerg units can come from their main, natural, 3rd, 4th due to the nature of Zerg macro. Proteus is retreating for the time being, but he is at a very heavy supply lead. If he presses his advantage more, then I'm sure he'll be able to crush through the Zergling Baneling army with nearly no repercussions. I mean, we do see an engagement here. Ultralisk, well known for the effectiveness against Marines, but the Widow Mines are barely able to make a connection. But I mean, what can the Danik do at this point? Proteus' economy is unharmed, untouched. He can just keep pumping out Marines, Marauders, medevacs for God knows how many aeons, and it looks like the Ultralists are going to attempt to clean up this attack by Proteus, but at this point it's just playing a losing game. I mean, the Danik, he probably knows the Danik is in a state of trouble, and the Liberators do come out, and the Freedom Zones are going to rain destruction upon any sort of unit that walks underneath the Circle of Doom. The Circle of Freedom, as they call it. I'm afraid the Danik has nothing now. It is 171 to 26 supply, and the Danik realizes this. He realizes the futility of his actions, and Proteus manages to take a win for the QT Club. Well done, Proteus. Very, very aggressive bioplay, but not what I would usually opt for in this kind of situation. But Prostislaus, he has the higher APM, he knows how to do this kind of stuff. He's familiar with this kind of stuff. Yes, GG. Game is called, and I believe our Platinum 1 Zerg from the QT Club is ready to rock and roll. His name is, wait, or is that another Terran? I think it's another Terran, isn't it? I can't remember for the life of me. Oh, nope, it's another Terran from the QT Club. I introduce you to Snow, a Diamond 2 Terran. It looks like Snow was playing some 1 versus 1 unranked games. I'm not sure what he was doing there. But Zerg upgrade. Oh, I didn't check the Zerg upgrades they had, but as you know, there's a stream delay and I can't read all the chat at once. Looks like Snow. Unfortunately, he is, by the looks of it, he is away, but we will try to invite him to the game nonetheless. Looks like Snow will be playing after all, after he decided to, well, you know. So it will be Snow, a Diamond 2 Terran versus his opponent, another one, who is Inquisitor. Diamond, let me check right now. Another Diamond 2 Zerg. But the real question is, will Snow go mech? Oh well, Rakirian, the 4 Terran matchup. I mean, Beastie is known for his Terran play, so you expect that his clan members are primarily Terran. It is a bit boring, but unfortunately we didn't get any many Protoss people signing up, I don't think. It could be better next time, I suppose. If you are in the QT Club, please, if you're Protoss and you're in Diamond League or above, please sign up for the Clan War. And introducing our players in the bottom left, we have from the QT Club, we have Snow, who is chilly and waiting to freeze his opponent to death. And in the top right, we have Inquisitor, who unfortunately does not inquire about anything except for playing Starcraft. Snow building up his supply depot, giving his SCVs a job. Oh, but man, that tournament trophy is really cool. It's a Void Ray on the top. From Team Graza's Inquisitor. I wonder what they'll both be going for. Of course, an SCV Scout coming right along, the usual build, and of course this is actually a wall this time. Unfortunately, a reactor is going to fit perfectly onto this and it's going to block any sort of Lingbane rush. Oop. Snow realizes the hatchery first, and what a awkward rally point from here to here to here to there. Snow, he is going to do some kind of funny... Is he going for Reaper? I'm not sure whether he went gas first, actually. I didn't notice. The Reaper is coming out right along for Snow. I must say my room is quite literally boiling at this very moment in time. Reaper fast expand as usual. Very nice one. Spawning group coming right along. So far we haven't seen a lot of cheese builds by the QTclub members. And, you know, it's alright, but we always like to spice it up a little. So far we've seen Space Marine from QTclub. He messes up his wall, gets overrun by Zerglings. And in the second game we saw QTclub's Prosties Laos doing a very aggressive Marine Marauder medevac push, constantly putting pressure on the Zerg. But I wonder, what is Snow going to be? What will define him? What is his playstyle going to be? He is going for 2-1-1, it looks like. So he is going to have the option for fast stim into some kind of tank push, I guess. Maybe the... Oh, but the Zerglings nearly got surround on the Reaper. That was very nice micro by Snow and Inquisitor. The Reaper is going to escape with its life, however. It's going to continue along its way, shooting people with pistols and jumping up and down cliffs with jetpacks. No, but you do see Evolution Chamber coming right along. I think like this is sort of customary for Team Graza to keep putting out Evolution Chambers into Drop-a-Lord nonsense. But if you're not prepared for it, it is going to be quite disgusting. And I mean, at this point in time, Snow, he does not know. He does have Marines, but he needs to get out a Starport and a Viking immediately. If you have a Viking, you kill those Overlords, you can do nothing about them. But Inquisitor, he's just going to, well, he's just going to drop 16 Zerglings into Snow space, and Snow doesn't realize it. And of course the... Oh dear, this is... Unfortunately, QTclub is not prepared for this moment in time, and unfortunately Snow is going to get completely wrecked by these Zerglings running across the map. Close that supply depot immediately. Close it. Yes, he closes it. And I believe if you pull the SCVs to kill the Zerglings, well, that's not enough it seems. It does appear that Snow is going to lose to this kind of Drop-a-Lord nonsense, which I think Team Graza is known for now. So if they do it in the next match, then technically, if you lose to it in the next match, then you wouldn't be a very good player now, would you? Well, sorry, got a bit overwhelmed by that kind, but I don't think the production tab will matter in the end, Yapin. QTclub is getting wrecked today again by these Drop-a-Lord nonsense. Our fourth game will be played on Neon Violet Square. And of course, if we don't win this one, then obviously we're not going to win the series. It's as simple as that. My Life for Ire is up. My Life for Ire. Versus opponent Shadow. I'm sure My Life for Ire, you did see him in the last match. I mean the last week's match. I'm not sure where My Life for Ire went. Come on, My Life for Ire, get over here. My Life for Ire, a Diamond 2 Terran versus opponent who is a Diamond 1 Protoss. And My Life for Ire, I know he hates Protoss. But, you know, we have to go. And if Shadow decides to go for some kind of silly cheesy build, I'm sure My Life for Ire will be totally prepared for it. My Life for Ire changing his color to the yellow. Most appropriate for this occasion. The game will be starting soon. It will be on Neon Violet Square, however, which is a more macro-oriented map. Which leads me to believe that My Life for Ire is going to go for some kind of really macro focus build. And we are introducing our players. In the top left we have QTclubs, My Life for Ire, who is a mech guard, a bio guard, and a macro guard. And in the bottom right we have, from Team Graza, we have Shadow, who is a Protoss. And if you're Protoss, you're already a cheesy motherfucker, as they call you. We do see a gas first from My Life for Ire. Bit of an interesting mix-up, I guess. The gas first means a faster factory, a faster cyclone, and better early defense. Perhaps coming right along, the probes coming. Whoop, these squares. These squares literally give me a headache in some of the occasions. They're literally a complete headache to deal with, especially if you have very large clunky units like the 4. Don't even talk to me about the 4 getting through these squares. It's so frustrating. Do you see these players? Continuously producing workers and doing the usual stuff. SCV is going to spot the gateway, but he spots no Nexus going down yet. I presume Shadow's going for the Nexus next as well. Yep, Nexus. The probe is going to mess around with SCV, having a little bit of fun time here. Nexus is coming down. Meanwhile, we see another gas being taken. Presumably, maybe Shadow is going to go for some Adepts or some Stalkers, particularly like the Stalker pressure. The Stalker pressure is quite hard to deal with. So if My Life for Ire doesn't build a bunker here, then the Stalker will get in here and it will kill the SCV and it'll kill the next SCV coming along to get it. And you know, that's really going to put a hitch in My Life for Ire's macro build. The Reaper is coming along. It is going to spot a Nexus. And it looks like Shadow is going for an Adept instead. An interesting choice, but not uncommon. Warpgate is being researched, so I'm not sure what exactly Shadow is going to go for. He does decide to build another. Decide to build Twilight Council. I was going to say he was going to do some kind of nonsensical blink all-in, but that would just be pretty silly at this point. Meanwhile, My Life for Ire, he's bringing up his Marines. He's bringing up that Cyclone. He's going to add on the Starport pretty soon, unless he decides to go for a second Cyclone, of course. And we do have to realize that My Life for Ire, he stated that he is not confident playing Bio, so unfortunately, if he does play Bio, well, let's say it wouldn't be as good as his mech play, okay? But let's see what they're going to do. I mean, I believe that Warpgate is going to nearly be complete, and indeed Shadow goes for the thing I said, which is the nonsensical blink all-in. Well, not blink all-in, sort of blink harass. Very annoying to deal with, but unfortunately on this map there's simply no way for Shadow to blink into My Life for Ire's main base. You could try to blink up here and then retreat and do some fancy blink micro, but it's not as effective on this map, I do believe. Personally, of course, My Life for Ire, he's being a little bit greedy now. He's going for the pocket third base, which will allow My Life for Ire to pump out a lot of units eventually, but can he hold off against the initial barrage of Blink Stalkers? But Shadow, he's not making a move with his Stalkers, he's just sending one random Adept, and the Adept is going to get, well, he's clever with his micro, he's just going to get bopped by the Cyclone with Tornado Blasters, blasting the Adept away. We do see both players at a similar worker count, but Shadow is at a slightly higher working count, but that's going to be remedied in a few moments as My Life for Ire's first CC is about to finish. And he is going to start pumping out more workers. He does decide to go for a very interesting Cloak Banshee opener. I've never seen this before, but I mean, Shadow is prepared for it. He has an observer. But if he sends the observer across the map, then they'll never catch the Banshee, am I right? We'll have to send this observer all the way back. And it looks like Shadow, he's not going to build anything out of the robotic facility yet. Interesting. Light for Eye going mech against Protoss. He's breaking the meta, I tell you. And believe me, my Light for Eye, he is a calmer and more... he is a very calm person, not like a Velo, of course. And we do see his Hellion is going to spot Shadow's third base, nearly about complete. It does appear that Shadow didn't opt for the pocket base, but because my Life for Aya did opt for the pocket base, he is going to get a lot more economy right now. So he should utilize this. He should make a move towards Shadow's third base, retreat, and just continue building up. But what does my Life for Eye has? He only has like a few Cyclones. That's not going to be very good. He needs to be making at least a few siege tanks, and the Banshee is going to come out. He does build an engineering bay in fear of something from the air coming from Protoss, but the armory is going to do quite a good job. The armory is getting built, so he's going to get +1 attack for his vehicles. And believe me, +1 attack vehicles are very good against Stalkers, but unfortunately, charge is on the way for Shadow. It is nearly complete, and unfortunately, charge lots do shut down siege tanks pretty hard, which is not optimal for my Life for Eye. My Life for Eye does forget to get the Blue Flame upgrade and Infernal Pre-Igniters, but his Hellions will do fine. Hellions are basically just a buffer for the siege tanks. But unfortunately, my Life for Eye, he is falling a bit behind on the economy. His opponent got the big third base, whilst my Life for Eye only has a small third base. He's not consistently producing SCVs, even though he should be. But his opponent is floating a lot of resources, and what exactly does Shadow has? He has like only a few Zealots, one Immortal, and I'm not sure where his Stalkers went. The Stalkers are here, but my Life for Eye, you need to move out. You have to be aggressive. You have to be proactive with your army. You can't turtle up in your base. Because Protoss will eventually just get carriers and your mech army is going to get decimated. But this Banshee is cloaked and only got 1 kill. So that's not exactly the best for my Life for Eye, as you know. So I would suggest my Life for Eye, you need to make a move out right now. You need to pressure him on his third base. Looks like lots of energy is saved up on this Nexus. That's really not that good for Shadow. He needs to use those Chrono Boosts more liberally to reduce units quickly. I'm not sure Shadow understands how Chrono Boost works in the new patch, so maybe we need to teach him about that. And this Banshee just randomly comes in. It should be attacking the pylon and he forgets to cloak it, and of course there's already an observer out on the field. My Life for Eye completely botching that Banshee harass. Meanwhile, the Hellions are trying to get a run by, but he did forget Blue Flame, so these Hellions are going to achieve absolutely nothing. My Life for Eye is starting up his 4th base. And he is ahead in the supply, I mean. If you're ahead in supply as Mag, you should be pretty happy, and for that, of course, you cannot deny that when 4 comes out. 4s are just so bad against charge lots, they're literally so bad. Hopefully, my Life for Eye will create enough Hellbats to tank for the mech army, but maybe Shadow doesn't think my Life for Eye is going to be going mech. I'm not sure whether he knows actually. He does know he's going mech, but I mean, at this point, Shadow probably hasn't faced a meching Terran before. I mean, who the hell goes mech against Protoss, am I right? A lot of Zealots are being warped in, and I'm starting to fear for my Life for Eye. If he gets caught out with these tanks, which have no protection, there are not enough Hellbats here. I'm really starting to get worried for my Life for Eye. I mean, this is quite a menacing Protoss army. And my Life for Eye, he's just not got enough stuff. It's the kind of stuff that's really weak when they're not sieged up. And my Life for Eye does drop scan. He does realize his opponent didn't go for Storm. I'm not sure why Shadow went for Storm. Now a few Stalkers here. My Life for Eye is going to realize that this army is coming in. He's going to realize Like, nearly instantly, I guess. But Shadow, of course. He knows there's a mech army. And of course Shadow will not engage in that, he will simply back off. I mean, the game is looking more and more dire for my life for Aya, but Shadow, he is adding on the robotics bay. I'm not sure what that will accomplish, since you probably won't be getting Colossi against the mech army, but my life for Aya, he decides to move out anyway. He leaves all of his tanks on siege tier. I'm really not sure what that's about. My life for Aya, your tanks, my life for Aya, don't botch this attack. My life for Aya, your tanks, god damn it, your tanks. Oh my lord, if my life for Aya engages right now, he could be in a lot of trouble because he simply doesn't have any tanks. The Warp Prism gets instantly killed. But my life for Aya, he's deciding to leave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tanks at home. He's just decided, well, I don't really need siege tanks, you know. You know what I mean? I'm not sure where. Well, it looks like Shadow's army is there, and it looks like my life for Aya's army is going to get crushed immediately by this army. There's no way this army can take on that army. My life for Aya, please don't lose this. My life for Aya, your tanks, man. Oh my god, my life for Aya is going to get swarmed. But the tanks, they have immense firepower, and it looks like the fight is going to be quite clean, except for the fact that tanks do get instantly killed by the Immortals and the Stalkers. I mean, my life for Aya, if you just had brought these tanks along, you could have attacked so successfully. My life for Aya realizes it. What an idiot. What a potato he's been. He realizes it. He even pings his own tanks. He knows it's up. He knows he's going to lose soon. He does have a lot of turrets built around his bases though. But his sensor tower does see. He does see. He sieges it up immediately. But is it enough? I think not. But there's a planetary to help things. And the planetary, if he repairs it in time, may be able to hold off this attack for now. But unfortunately, there are a lot of tanks in the back though. But tanks are not good against Immortals. Unfortunately, my life for Aya is in a bit of a dire situation right now. He has nothing here. His tanks are not coming out just yet. And I'm afraid this is a potato move by my life for Aya. Completely botching the attack, unfortunately. When he had 8 tanks sieged up in his 4th base. And unfortunately, Shadow from Team Graza and a Diamond 2 Protoss will take the victory for Team Graza. Unfortunately, I believe that's going to be it for the series. It's going to be a 3-1 loss for QTclub. Very unfortunate indeed. It could be done better. My life for Aya could have done much better, I feel like. I mean, look at Shadow. He has so many unspent resources. And they're both very even, except for that last fight. Look at my life for Aya's army. It was magnificent. Until he decided not to go get those tanks to come with the push. I mean, my life for Aya, I can't say I'm more disappointed in you than ever before, but definitely not a good day for QTclub.